Well, we make an HDR, which is a high dynamic range imagery. It's basically 360-degree coverage of the scene, and we're doing it for the reason to use in post-production as a lighting source. For example, you can create like a 3D scene, and you can put this as a lighting 3D environment in that scene, and it will be sort of like accurate representation of what was in set. For example, you want to like integrate a robot in the scene, and the robot should be in the light plate, and this HDR will shine the light of different colors to this person. Well, you basically shoot like with the 8mm lens, which is really wide lens and can cover like pretty much 180-degree view, I think, and you shoot 4 direction, and including up and bottom, it's total like 6 direction, and then you stitch those images into one continuous spherical panorama that you can use later on. We will need good camera. In this case we're using 5D, and we need the Nodal Ninja, and also wide lens, something around 8 to 12 millimeters. Nodal Ninja is just a device that allows us to shoot different direction without changing the perspective of this shot, without introducing parallax to the imagery. First of all, we need to mount this nodal arm to the tripod. There's an indicator that we can always adjust, that we don't need to find this position all the time. We use the big screw for this procedure. Basically goes here like that. And I think I'm doing it already the wrong way. Right, and immediately just mount the camera. We already have a plate mounted on the camera that will allows you to secure it on the Nodal Ninja setup. For this guy, we use the smaller screw, which is marked here. That will allows us to rotate it up later. First of all, we need to make sure that the camera is centered on top of this Nodal Ninja point. For that, I will put camera in a vertical position, and I power up the camera. Just go to display mode, and then by adjusting this small plate and also adjusting the camera, I can push camera a little bit direction. This, yeah, this looks good to me. And then I can just secure the small plate, but next time I don't need to do it again to find the spot. Alright, you see the C-stand and the white paper behind it. If I rotate the camera, and you can see that even the camera is moved if you go this direction. And I can show you this. Even the camera is moved, but this C-stand is still, this paper is still behind the C-stand perfectly. That meaning that we find this spot where this nodal point of the lens, where there is no parallax introduced into our image. I just want to go through a quick camera setup to shoot in HDRI. For that, we need to make sure that we shoot in bracketed images, meaning like each image has different exposure. For each angle, we usually do 3 to 5 different exposure. This simple example on this 5D camera, by default we can only do 3.
And why we need different exposure?
Well, we need different exposure for each angle that we can combine those images together. And by combining those images, we end up with the high dynamic range image. because some image can have like detail in the shadow with the overexposed image, or like underexposed image will have details in the sky. By combining those three images, we can get the really high dynamic range without a lot of data in the image. I actually want to start with a little bit different, just the basic settings, just set up the quality of the image. We want to shoot raw. We always want to shoot raw because JPEG is not suitable for any work because it doesn't hold enough data in its compressed format. This is pretty basic for the camera. You can find it in the manual, but just go into the settings and find in the quality panel. You just want to switch from the, you can disable JPEG completely, it's up to you, and just on the raw panel you just set it to raw, and you can see it's set to raw. Also you want to make sure the camera is completely set to manual, and this is here. This is really important because we don't want any different settings between different angles that we shoot. And for manual we just set it like that. And the other thing that we want to set in manual is the focus, automatic focus on the lens. Just set it to MF manual focus. That will also ensure that it's all set correctly. In order to set camera to the multiple exposure mode, you just go to the menu and go to export comp. And here you want to use, you can see like there is some hints for the control. You want to use this scroller, and it will show you that it's doing like one stop less, and in this case actually 2 stops less and plus 2 stops for every consequent shoot. Set OK. We can see that this is all set, and we can do a quick test. We can enable camera. I just show it right here. Don't forget to pull our focus on the whatever subject you're shooting, and usually infinite for the HDR. And if you see I start to shoot this is the first one, this is the second one, you see it's darker, and this is the third one, which is the brighter. And what we end up with, 3 different exposure image for one angle of shoot. One thing that I forgot to mention, that tripoders need to be level. These bubbles right here, I just quickly level it. It's kind of common sense procedure. I'll use remote control for the camera in order to make sure that the camera is absolutely static and you don't introduce any shade between the images. This is optional. You might use it or you might not. You just have it, and that's why I use it. Yeah, let's start with this angle. You can see there is a quick checklist that we need to go through. We make sure that the focus is pulled. We make sure that the camera in manual mode, the tripod is level. I think, yeah, those basic things. And once we're ready to shoot, we can start to do this. Just again, before shooting, this is just the test frame. Just delete that. It's not confusing. It's a good way to do a slate. Before you image, you can use a piece of paper. Sometimes we use like a cell phone, and we use like application that we can write something here, and we put in front. We set like this is a scene in the forest, or this type of HDR, and that we can later find it and apply it to a particular scene. We shoot that, then they put the camera again in the bracketing mode, which is already set, and yeah, just shoot it. Let me reset the camera. This is the first exposure, second one, and the third one. Then we change the angle, which is a 90 degree. Yeah, this is it. This is the full coverage for the full 360-degree panorama, and you should be able to stitch it in post in any application of your choice. That's it.
And usually, how long will it take you to finish the entire process?
For stitching the image,
No, I mean, from set out the camera rig.
the whole process of HDR probably on set it will take you no more than 10 minutes. You basically have this rig already done, and probably even 5 minutes. You just go on the point, you shoot it. After each scene, you just shoot full coverage, and then you're done because you don't want to hold production too much.
And what's the requirement when you shoot the HDRI? Is there any special lighting set out, or who you talk to when you're on set to make sure the lighting
Well,
doesn't change?
usually you only shoot HDR if there is like matte painting required. It's a nice reference for matte painting, but the primary requirement is that there is any CG integration in the scene, because the main point is to recreate the lighting in the scene. If there is no CG in the scene, there is no reason to shoot this HDR footage for a particular movie scene.
And do you do this HDRI for every shot, or is per location or per lighting setup?
Right, it's per location, but if the lighting is changed on the location, because director sometimes adjust or DP adjust, director of photography adjust the lighting, and you want to reshoot your HDR because you never know which scene from particular location director will end up liking and using to the final movie. Cool.